In this episode of Falmouth in Focus, volunteers in public schools celebrate 40 years of service. The community shows their love and support for Nobska Light, and good things happen to those who show up. A local couple reflects on their love this Valentine's Day. All this and much more on this edition of Falmouth in Focus.
Hello and welcome to Falmouth in Focus, FCTV's current affairs program. I'm Michael Kasparian.
And I am Queen Carberry Banda.
Volunteers in Public Schools, or VIPS, is celebrating their 40th year anniversary by continuing their mission of supporting students and engaging the community.
That's right, Michael, and we recently sat down with Tracy Crago, Executive Director of VIPS, to discuss this important milestone and how the organization has evolved over time.
So it's pretty exciting. Falmouth VIPS is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. 4 decades of having volunteers and the community share in the education of our students in Falmouth. We started with a full year of planning and talking and figuring out what VIPS could look like, how to work with the community partners, businesses, how to bring people in so that they could support students. And that first year we had 8 volunteers at the high school doing tutoring. We continue offering tutoring services today, and we are currently at 860 volunteers who on an annual basis share their time, some every day, some every week, some do once a week. So everything in between, and it's just a wonderful way to sort of get a glimpse inside the schools, see all the good work that's happening, all the hard work the teachers are putting in, working with our students, supporting our students. And you know, in 4 decades, the needs have changed in some ways, but in some ways the mission is exactly the same, and that is to support our students and engaging the community, which we're really proud of. I think the thing about education is that you could always do more. There are always more programs we could run, more services we could provide to students. Some of the things that we've really seen is obviously an uptick in some of the social and emotional support that we can provide to students. We do that through mentorships, academic coaching. We have a Pathways program for students at risk of dropping out. And it's just the important thing is just always sort of keeping your pulse on what's happening, what's coming down the pike, and what students need, and figuring out ways to bring in volunteers, programs, and resources that can continue to meet those needs as they change over the years. And I think one of the things we're very proud of too is that Falmouth VIPS has become a model for other school districts. So in that time, as we were kind of quietly doing our thing in Falmouth, other districts have begun to reach out to us on the Cape, the islands, and even the South Shore. So that's been a real fun thing that we've been able to do, is sort of share what's happening in Falmouth with other communities. I think one of the things people think when you hear we have 860 volunteers in the schools is that, oh, well, they're all set, I don't need to volunteer. But the reality is that we always could use additional volunteers, and whether it's a one-time program or service, or whether you're thinking about being a mentor. We do have students on a waiting list for mentors and tutors, and we could always find ways to put you to work.
If you or someone you know would like to become a mentor or a volunteer in one of the many VIPS programs, contact falmouthvips.org for more information. Thanks to Bob Fenstermaker for that story.
Just a reminder to stay informed on the latest local, state, and federal COVID guidance with regular briefings by Falmouth's health agent, Scott McGann, on FCTV Government Channel 15, our Facebook page, and fctv.org.
And it is time now for FCTV's condensed version of the takeaways from the recent municipal meetings. Selections are chosen based on community impact.
The Select Board met for a regular meeting this past Monday evening. Police Chief Edward Dunn gave a brief report, highlighting his concern over the lack of patrol officers on the force in Falmouth. Reasons for the police shortage were varied, with Chief Dunn citing retirements, military leave, and the difficulty in recruiting officers due to the civil service requirements.
You and the community are aware of our staffing issues. Everything going on in the country today, it's not just policing, it's everything. It's tough finding employees. We're still trying to get out of civil service, which isn't helping. But anyways, to give you some real numbers, as you're aware, we are budgeted for 65 people. And that is 1 chief, 2 captains, 4 lieutenants, 6 sergeants, and should be 52 police officers. That brings us to a total of 65. Currently, right now, you have 1 chief, 2 captains, 4 lieutenants, 6 sergeants, and 33 patrolmen. I have 1 in the academy. We had 2 in the academy, but as of last week, we had to remove 1 and terminate him for information that was developed while he was in the academy. We have 4 officers line of duty injuries. Out of those 4, 3 are in the process of probably retiring on a medical. 1 just recently went out on line of duty. We're hoping to get him back at some point. It's going to depend on how he heals.
The school committee also met this past week, and school committee member Terry Medeiros has given us a summary.
Hello, this is Terry Medeiros, a member of the school committee, who's going to give you a recap of what I'm going to call a happy meeting. It was short, but very sweet. Some things that we did tonight were, we approved a trip to New York City for some art students from the high school who are going to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and have a great day in New York City. We also approved our school budget. It's a culmination of a lot of work, and we're happy that that is been voted on. We are in the process of building a sister school relationship with a school in Cabo Verde with some people from Falmouth who have already been on the board, and we're happy to talk about building this relationship with a school across the ocean. And if you would like to know the details of various other things we did or these things I just mentioned, please watch FCTV or our YouTube channel. Thank you.
To see the meetings in their entirety, check out Government Channel 15's program schedule at fctv.org.
After a short break, we'll follow up on the Winter Farmers Market and their recent move to a new location. Stay with us. Welcome back. Recently, we featured a story about the Winter Farmers Market. In this episode, we bring you a follow-up report.
Due to zoning regulations, the Winter Farmers Market had to move from their location at Bad Martha's Brewery, but they were back after only missing 1 weekend at a new location. We checked in for an update.
So I guess the first thing that happened was the town realized that there was a farmer's market happening at Bad Martha's. And they had a previous ruling with the planning board that they could not have that type of event on Bad Martha property until they updated their permit. So we got a notice at Thursday night before the market that we could not have the market. So the Bad Martha's got a cease and desist letter basically saying hey, we told you once that you need to get this permit before you can have this event, and we can't tell you a slap on the wrist this time, we have to cease and desist. We had decided that we were gonna have it here at Green Dragon, Jenny's Edibles and Blooms, so we have her greenhouse available to the end of March, and so we're gonna keep doing it here for the rest of the season. We're really excited to have it on a farm. It makes sense to us to have it here. And so, yeah, it was just a pretty heavy week, and then we had to kind of wait for the town approval. There was some confusion on whether a farmer's market needed special approval to have a farmer's market on an agricultural property. Karen Schwabe, our Ag Commission, helped clear that up, that we are protected here as an ag property and that we can have ag-related activities on a farm. So ag seems to be a little mixed up with some of these zoning laws, so we're trying to figure that out as we go here. But we're really excited. Clearly a big crowd has been coming, so I think we did the right thing, and we're really happy it came together and we only missed 1 week. So now we're working on getting some new signage out to the community. It was probably $1,000 worth of signs and banners and flyers that we lost with the last location, so we're really trying to make up for that. So we'll be putting more flyers out. If you want to follow Falmouth Farmers Market or Farming Falmouth, those are two great ways to find out on Facebook or Instagram. We're both posting kind of our vendors for the week and reminders about the market. So those are great ways to find out about the market. And we're really excited to keep going till the end of March.
Thanks to Anthony Sedera for that piece. The Winter Farmers Market will be open every Sunday through March at 225 Sandwich Road, the site of Green Dragon Farm and Jenny's Blooms and Edibles.
Moving on, Falmouth Public Schools celebrated its 21st annual No Guff Week earlier this month.
Here's more about how students, staff, and community members were recognized for their ability to get involved in creating a positive, everyday environment.
No Guff Day has been celebrated since 2001 at Falmouth High School, when school adjustment counselor Greg Gilbert worked with students to find a proactive way to handle conflicts. They came up with the phrase, no guff, and worked with graphic arts teacher Doug Ribasol to print no guff t-shirts for students. Shortly after the first celebration, Mr. Ribasol was killed in a tragic motorcycle accident. Since then, No Guff has been held in his remembrance as he empowered students and staff to get involved in creating a positive atmosphere. No Guff Art Design Award goes to Lily Matthews. The No Guff Staff Awards go to Ms. Katie Falth and Mr. Todd Tinkham. Student winners, Class of 2026, Victoria Fialo and Maya Ledwell. Our Class of 2025 winners, Devin Hewen and Brooke Morrison. Class of 2024 winners, Grace Gavin and Fiona McKilligan. Class of 2023 winners, Spencer Brown and Silas Lacey. And the Principals Award to Devon Edwards. Congratulations to all.
Thanks to Ryan Weber for that story. The community came together on Valentine's Day to show their support of a beloved Cape Cod landmark, Nobska Light.
Sweet art for Nobska Light took place at the Main Street Gallery. The conviviality offered hors d'oeuvres, music, and art in support for friends of Nobska Light.
For the last 4 years, I am proud to say that I have been the president of the organization and so happy to help us move towards our mission, our vision, and complete our mission for the tower. At Friends of Nobska Light, what we are aiming to do, first of all, is to save the tower and the keeper's house because it was literally in disrepair, and to turn that keeper's house into a maritime museum. And that maritime museum will tell the story of Nobska, the keepers that lived there, maritime science, maritime history, weather, storms, shipwrecks that happened off the coast, climate change and how that's impacting our coast and the weather all around us. What we have done so far is we rehabbed that tower, or actually preserved that tower with a nice paint job, and it is actually due for another paint job. in 5 years. That's what that weather does to that poor tower up there. Our goal is to open that Keeper's House up back to you this season. Local artist, actually worldwide artist, Julia Amalia Keys, donated this painting right behind us to Nobska. So it sits on the wall here with a value of about, just $14,500. We are doing a silent auction on this that will start tonight.
So as it is our lighthouse, I am really interested in supporting it. That's why I donated the painting, and that is why I will continue to donate every year a like-size value painting to the Friends of Nobska. It's a very important endeavor for those of us that live in Falmouth and those of us who live on Cape Cod. Nobska is historically significant, and we need to preserve this lighthouse for ourselves, for our children, and for our grandchildren.
So to date, Friends of Nobska Light have raised about $3.4 million out of their $5 million capital campaign goal. After we reach that goal, we will immediately move into an endowment phase of the campaign, which we hope to raise $2 million. But the first $5 million will cover what we've done with the tower, the house, and the site work, and get us started on building that museum that we want to put inside. If you look across the town of Falmouth, you'll see Nobska used for the logo for so many of our businesses. It's on the seal for the Falmouth, for town of Falmouth. She shines bright on our shore. She's a place where people go for inspiration in times of joy, in times of sadness. Numerous weddings up there, celebrations of life, celebrations of death. She's part of Falmouth. Nobska is Falmouth, so it's very important to this community.
Nobska Light was opened in 1829. Friends of Nobska Light are committed to the preservation and protection of Nobska Light. Look up Friends of Nobska Light to learn more. Well, after the break, we'll hear from Falmouth Town Engineer about a new crosswalk signal recently installed on Palmer Avenue.
Hi, I'm Stacy Pugh, President and CEO of the YMCA Cape Cod. Did you know the YMCA is working to bring a Y facility to the Upper Cape? With land secured on Brick Kiln Road next to Falmouth High School, we're continuing the work of bringing this transformative community hub to life. Our design includes a preschool play space, school-age indoor playground, and intergenerational teen spaces to support youth development. We will offer programs for all ages through a state-of-the-art wellness center. Our pools will be open for swim lessons, lap swimming, and aqua fitness classes to support healthy living. By providing financial assistance to our families from all backgrounds, our social responsibility ensures everyone will benefit from the Y. To learn more about this project and sign up for our newsletter, visit ymcacapecod.org/uppercape.
Welcome back. In an effort to make pedestrians and bicyclists alike safer in Falmouth, a new advanced street crossing system has been installed on Palmer Avenue. This system connects the Shining Sea Bikeway with Goodwill Park.
FCTV sat down with Falmouth's town engineer Jim McLaughlin to hear the details of the technology and what people can expect from this crosswalk.
So I'm James McLaughlin, town engineer, and we installed a hybrid pedestrian beacon on Palmer Ave this past year. It's been in the works for a number of years. The impetus for it was really the Bikeways Committee looking to have a connection from the Shining Sea Bikeway to the Goodwill Park, and in particular the playground that was recently, well at the time recently, is probably 2017 or 18 that it was completed, but there's a new playground in Goodwill Park that would be accessed through this crossing from the bikeway. This one, it's called a pedestrian hybrid beacon, or also typically called a hawk signal. And what happens is there are a series of lights on a mast arm projected out over the roadway, and they're typically dark, and only are activated when a pedestrian presses the button. So there's Button's on either side of the Route 28, Palmer Ave. And when someone wants to cross, they press the button and the lights start to flash, first yellow, flashing yellow, which is an indicator for motorists to slow down. Then they flash solid, they don't flash, they're solid yellow, which is, again, a signal to the motorist to stop. And then it goes to a full red, and that's when everything should stop at the crosswalk. And there are stop bars on either side that are painted out, and there's signage on the roadway itself that indicates where you should be stopping. And then there's a period of time where the don't walk sign, or the hand that's on it's a signal head that's on each side of the roadway, that ends up indicating that it's safe to walk, and it's a white light that shows a pedestrian walking across the street. There's a period of time, it's about 10 or 15 seconds to get across, and then the light starts to flash, indicating to the pedestrians that they should quickly get to the other side, or don't attempt to start if if it starts to flash and you haven't even started to cross. Wait for the next signal, and then it goes don't walk, and the red lights go to flashing red, and that's an indication that traffic can start to move again.
Thanks to Jeff Wyman and Mr. McLaughlin for that story. We always like to hear about ways the town is making our residents safer.
Now moving on. In May of 2021, members of Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution Ocean Twilight Zone project braved the rough seas of the Northeast Atlantic aboard the Spanish research vessel Sarmiento de Gamboa.
Their mission, to locate the spring phytoplankton bloom and measure how carbon moves through the mysterious mid-ocean twilight zone.
The ocean is such a challenging place to understand. We need lots of diverse specializations and perspectives to hope to figure it out.
So we're out here as part of a larger program called Exports. It's about the export, a transfer of carbon from the top to the bottom of the ocean. Now this has been long in the making. Over 5 years we've been planning for this. We're able to, through the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution's Twilight Zone program, bring new technologies out here, additional scientists who are actually studying the same processes but in different ways. We also have new autonomous vehicles that we're bringing out to the NASA-funded program. So we're trying to coordinate 3 ships in one location. That's something I've never done in my 30-plus year career.
What we're learning about the Twilight Zone is going to help us be better stewards of such an important part of our planet. We know that there's a lot of life in the Twilight Zone. This has caught the attention of industrial fishing, and we really don't want to have a fishery go forward that might lead to ecosystem collapse, have impacts throughout the ocean food web, and potentially impacts on the climate of the entire planet.
When we tow the net through the waters, you never know what you're going to get. And so there's this excitement of bringing that cod in, the end of the net, on board, rinsing it all down, and then doing that last dump into the bucket, just hoping to see something really cool. And we always do, but you never know what it's going to be.
It's always so fun to pull up these buckets and sort through them, to get your hands on them and see all of the intricacies, show them to other people and see the excitement on their faces. And as a student, it's phenomenal to be able to touch some of these organisms that are in such a hard-to-reach part of the ocean.
Really, to get this many resources, 3 ships together, studying this mid-water zone, twilight zone, with all of these instruments, scientists from all over the world, different disciplines, this is a fundamentally transformational kind of event to really make things happen here that we've never been able to do before in ocean sciences.
This remarkable and rare coordination of 150 scientists from several organizations and crew on 3 different ships was years in the making. Thanks to Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution for that piece.
And moving on to a story about love, Michael.
For this Valentine's Day, FCTV sat down with a local couple to hear about their love story.
Jay and Susan Zavala, whom you know very well,
Yes, I
just
do.
celebrated their 29th wedding anniversary. The couple's love story started back in 1985 in what they explained it as a fate of coincidence.
Here's Jay and Susan talking about how they managed to treasure their love for almost 3 decades now.
Our life is better because we are together. I was living in New Orleans, Louisiana. I was dry docking a vessel, and I had a contract in Galveston, Texas. On the first day that I arrived, after purchasing groceries, as I was leaving the market, I noticed there was an apartment complex and there was a party going on. And so since I didn't know anyone in Galveston, I just turned my car around and went back into the apartment complex and I crashed the party.
Well, I can confirm that that's the way it happened. I was down at the pool at the party, the only party I ever attended at the apartment complex.
And for some reason, 3 times over, Susan was introduced to me.
But after the 3rd introduction, he asked me on a date for the next night. So that was, I knew that I had prevailed, at least that evening anyway. Jay was 41. There's like almost 14 years between us. You were 41, I was 27, yeah.
And I had 2 sons that were already going into high school.
Part of what attracted me to him, you know, he had some loving, wonderful things to say about his 2 sons, yeah, and how involved he was. So we went back and forth for 3 years before I moved to New Orleans. One of those weekends that I was preparing for your visit, you know, it just hit me.
I didn't fall in love with Susan until one night, New Year's Eve. We were dancing, and I'd told Susan many times that I'm never going to marry again. And suddenly, to my everlasting surprise, I held her in my arms and I said, "Will you marry me?"
And my first thought was, you better say yes quick, because this might change. He looked like he was going to throw up. You actually turned like green, and I thought, oh, he's going to be sick. Surprised both of us. Jay often tells me that I have changed a lot since we met, and that he is a better man since we met. And I often respond, no, I think, honey, what the secret is that you're allowed to be who you are, and I'm allowed to be who I am. And you are the man that your parents raised, and we can just be ourselves with each other.
When we married, I asked the justice of the peace not to say anything, just to officiate. She said, "Can I at least ask her if she wants to marry you?" I said, "That's permissible." Then when we got to our honeymoon destination, I read my vows, and I knew she'd accept me.
Do you remember what you asked?
Oh, I do. I live it. And that's private.
To hear more about Jay's and Susan's story, we have the full exclusive on our YouTube channel. And now FCTV wants to remind you that television can be as easy as hitting record on your smartphone.
We'd like to invite all Falmouth residents and visitors to share their slice of life with us. Email us your photos and videos, or upload them to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram using the hashtag MyFalmouth or Falmouth in Focus to be featured on the show. Thank you to our most recent contributors.
We leave you now with the sights and sounds of the ocean waves along Grand Avenue. Thank you for watching Falmouth in Focus. We'll see you next time.